retired out of the airlines, or they flew the Goodyear blimp or helicopter tours in Las Vegas, and they look at me and they said, "What's your aviation background?" And I said, "Well, I flew American to get here, and that's about it."
Chandler Tower, Cherokee 4121 Tango is at Chandler Air Service. We have Zulu, and we'd like a south departure, please.
What does it take to be an angel? Where does the sun go when it sleeps? Is every star that shines so brightly in the sky another promise I must keep? I should by now. It isn't written in the stars, just shadows, dreams, and light.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Student Pilot Cast. We've got another episode from OSH22 for you today. This one is one of two interviews I did with the folks representing the state of Oklahoma, well, specifically the Aerospace Commission within the state of Oklahoma. One of the folks they had representing the state was high school teacher Chris Eckler, who decided to roll up his sleeves and learn right alongside his students, which I think is pretty cool. The state of Oklahoma is really doubling down on aviation, both from an educational standpoint as well as from a commerce standpoint, directly from their Department of Commerce, by trying to attract great aviation and aerospace companies and talent. Obviously, I'm very interested in the education aspect of this, so it was a pleasure to talk to Chris and hear all about his story, and I hope you'll enjoy it as well. All right, welcome back, SPC listeners. We're here for another feature for OSH 2022, and I'm here with Chris, who is a teacher in Oklahoma, and he has a bit of an interesting story using the I Can Fly program from AOPA recently, not only to help his students in his school, but to help himself get through a private pilot course and get his private pilot license. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the program and what you've done recently.
So the Ada City School District was one of the first 20 or so school districts in the country that adopted the You Can Fly program by AOPA, and we field tested the program, so we'll be entering our 6th year of teaching at Ada, and the program has been given a lot of students the opportunity to start learning to fly. They've gotten a lot of the basic ground school information, and through a 501c3 at our district, we're actually providing scholarships to our students to start learning to fly, or a post-secondary education for that option as well. So throughout this program, I've actually been learning to fly alongside the students, and I've just recently passed my private pilot check ride last summer before coming to Oshkosh last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So were you, let's step back just a little bit and figure out how you got interested in all of this. Have you always been interested in aviation, or is this a newfound love for you?
It's definitely a newfound love. So I actually went to college for a degree in math education. So before teaching AOPA, I was teaching anywhere from 7th grade math to college algebra and trig. And I guess it's been 5 years ago, the school district came to me and they said, "Hey, we're going to have this opportunity. Would you like to do this?" And I was more interested in doing it to help our students at our district and get them the skills for a high-paying, in-demand job once they left high school.
That's amazing. So evidently now, in talking to you briefly beforehand, evidently you are focused mostly just on STEM in general and not just mathematics anymore for your whole district, correct?
Correct. So we're implementing STEM activities throughout the district, as well as our aviation. We introduce aviation topics all the way from pre-K through 12 at Ada City schools. So, for example, at our pre-K center, when they learn the letter A, it's A is for airplane. So the kids actually we get them all a little balsa airplane. Our high school students go over and work with them on labeling basic parts of the airplane. And on Friday at the end of the week, we do a flyover over the playground, so the kids all come outside and watch the airplane fly over the playground. So we've kind of implemented a lot of aviation activities, and our goal is to start implementing STEM activities and hands-on activities so kids can kind of get an idea of, I had wood shop when I was in school. It's a dying class now, but we are trying to get them interested in engineering classes and engineering careers once they get out of school.
Excellent. So I could see some educators getting some pushback from administrators on doing something sort of drastic like this. How were you successful, and what do you think was the key ingredient that allowed you to do something innovative like this at your school and at your district?
Our school district administrators and community have been super supportive. So our community members in our EAA chapter were actually the ones that approached our superintendent and our director of curriculum at the time and said, there's this opportunity for you to go to Seattle, Washington to the AOPA STEM Symposium, and you can learn about aviation education there. So they were really the ones that have pushed us to where we are now, and they're constantly ready to help and willing to help. Just this past year, we gave out 9 $3,000 scholarships to our students just to start learning to fly, and that comes from our Chickasaw Nation, the Native American industry there in our local community, as well as banks and community members that are just excited to see students getting an opportunity that none of us ever had whenever we were in high school.
Yeah, I certainly didn't. That's fantastic. How many kids have been affected by this program, would you say?
So we usually have about 75 kids in the class every year. We're a district of 2,500 students annual enrollment. So we always say that we're affecting 2,500 students because we touch every student with our elementary activities. Currently, we've had about 4 years of seniors graduate. So I was just talking to one of my students that graduated. He's going into his junior year at Southeastern Oklahoma State University, and he just finished his commercial written and he made 100 on it. So we have students at Southeastern, the University of Oklahoma, in the aeronautical engineering and private or professional pilot track, as well as we have one student that is really excelling at the United States Air Force Academy. And it's all just because of the opportunities that our community and our school district has been able to give these students.
It's amazing. I'm going to come back to the curriculum and how you're administering the program in just a minute. But I want to ask you personally, what do you think about flying?
It's probably the most liberating thing ever. I mean, when I went to Frederick, Maryland for the first year of curriculum training, I was sitting next to all the other field test teachers who just retired out of the airlines, or they flew the Goodyear blimp or helicopter tours in Las Vegas, and they look at me and they said, what's your aviation background? And I said, well, I flew American to get here, and that's about it. So when
You knew how to spell airplane, right?
That was about the extent of it right there. And whenever they said, well, we have a small 172 if anybody wants to go on a ride tonight, I was like, well, I mean, I've never been in a small airplane. From that moment on, it was just, I was hooked, and I wanted to finish, and it became kind of a competition. I wanted to make sure I finished my private before any of my students did. So that was the main reason why I hurried up to get mine done. But I mean, now I'm able to share that with other students. So during the school year, if the students haven't ever been in a small plane, or whether they have or not, I'm doing Young Eagle flights with them on after school and on the weekends, because a lot of these kids are coming from a low socioeconomic status where they may not have ever even seen a small airplane, more or less taken a flight in one. So I kind of just want to be able to share that with all of these students as well.
Super cool. So you found out, maybe you didn't know it, but you found out that flying is in your blood.
Absolutely. I laugh about it all, but my uncle, he was with the Blue Angels as a mechanic for years, but that was about all of the aviation we had in my family at that point.
Cool. So what did your students think about you getting your private pilot license about the same time they did? Was there some friendly competition there?
There was definitely a lot of friendly competition, and they all rubbed it in my face whenever they would make a higher score on their written. I said, well, whenever you finish your trek ride, then we can talk, because I've already beat you to that point. But they were really excited to see that I was at the same knowledge level as they were, and a little bit older than they were at the time. And I'm willing to learn, and it's just about being a lifelong learner no matter what you're doing.
Super cool. So back to the curriculum. Have you been approached, or would you be willing to be approached by other administrators and other school districts from around the country on how you were so successful and what you're doing? Is that something that you're doing outreach to others as well?
Absolutely. So what our district's curriculum director actually left the district to work with the Aeronautics Commission, and what we've done now is kind of reached out to all the schools in the state of Oklahoma that are interested, and I'd be willing to help anybody around the country. This curriculum is probably the best curriculum I've ever seen, and I mean, I've never knew anything about aviation, and I tell everybody, if you can read and you have the desire to help students, this curriculum is going to be easy enough for you to implement for your students as well. So we always have an open door policy where they can come in and see our facilities and come and talk to our kids. Our kids are used to being asked questions by a million administrators or teachers. So our door is constantly open, and the AOPA has been great to us, so we're willing to share that with anybody as well.
Excellent. Thank you. So how would somebody get in touch with you? Is there a Twitter handle or social media for the program, or would they reach out to you personally?
They could reach out to me personally. My email is Eckler, Eckler, the letter C, as in Chris, at AdaPSS.com. So anybody that needs help in this, it's funny, the other day here at Oshkosh, I went to a session and it was on high school aviation programs, and I was just going to see what they were offering. And anyway, I show up, and me and another guy from Minneapolis that teaches the program, we were sitting there talking. Well, about 5 minutes after the class was supposed to start, the kid that was volunteering in the room said, well, it's a no-show, so just go somewhere else. Well, before you knew it, we were talking to all the people in there about the high school aviation programs that we've introduced and that AOPA has been able to start all around the country. And now in Oklahoma, we'll have 57 schools districts in the state offering it. And you think 57 school districts, we have some that graduate maybe 12 a year. But they all see the value in being able to help. It's Oklahoma's second largest industry in the state. So we're trying to get these kids involved into, like I said, a high-paying, high-demand job. It is
High demand for sure. And it's great to see that as vocations change, as the opportunities change for these young people, that the school districts and the schools are changing with it and helping them kind of achieve those goals and those dreams for them. What would you like everybody to know as sort of a parting statement about the program?
I think that, it was not built today, but it's been successful because of the community support and our administration support, and just the kids are excited about the program. Parents are excited about a program because I can't tell you how many times I've heard it. I wish they would have had this whenever I was in school. And just being able to provide that is just a hands-down awesome experience.
I agree. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Well, there you have it. Oklahoma really seems to be driving results and getting participation in programs like these, and it's really great to see. I hope other states and localities will take notice and double down on helping students progress toward their dreams, and will help with the pilot shortage at the same time. And ultimately, it should improve commerce and the quality of lives in those areas. Oklahoma has really embraced the AOPA I Can Fly curriculum, which makes it much easier to get going in aerospace and aviation education without having to develop everything from scratch, as well as being able to learn from others who are already doing it. Let's hope this continues to grow, and my hat's off to the state of Oklahoma for their leadership in this area. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will be back in a future episode with an interview with the director of the State of Oklahoma's Aerospace Commission. His name is Grayson Arties, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let me know what you all think about what Oklahoma is doing, and even better, let me in on any programs you know about that might be similar to this or doing similar things. I'd love to find more examples. Until next time, go learn a little something about flying. Catch you later.